Christmas Nisse, Chapter 19, Sydney.
Okie dokie, pick me up please, Mr. Bruno.
What for? Asked Bruno.
Just to do it.
Bruno put her carefully in his hands and Annalise started to spell very carefully.
S-Y-D-N-E-Y.
Bruno felt a sudden jolt and everything went black for a moment. Then he was blinded by a bright light and he began to feel very warm indeed. As the brightness faded, he noticed that they were standing facing an enormous iron bridge with a strange white building on their left.
This, Mr. Bruno, is Sydney,
Annalise explained.
Wow, you mean Sydney in Australia? But that's on the other side of the world. Yes, indeedy, the Nisse said. You want to know about Australian Christmas, yeah? Best way is to see it. It is, as you say, on completely the other side of the world. So everything is topsy-turvy, especially the weather. What do you notice about the weather?
It's baking hot, sighed Bruno, taking off his sweater.
Yep. In Europe, at Christmas time, we have cold winter, but in Australia, it's the middle of summer and it's very hot. But for many Australians, their families came from Europe and they still have some traditions the same.
What's that noise? Asked Bruno.
You listen carefully and you tell me what you hear,
Annalise suggested. Bruno stood and listened intently. He soon recognised the sound as singing. When he turned around, he saw that he was in a big park and hundreds of people were singing Deck the Halls. It felt strange to Bruno to hear such a Christmassy song in the summer heat, with white parrots squawking in the trees. He looked up and saw black shapes flying in the sky. They looked like birds with very strange shaped wings. Annalise, what are those black birds hovering over us? He asked.
They's not birds, Mr. Bruno,
she replied. Bruno looked closer and it slowly dawned on him what they were. Bats. There are bats circling overhead and parrots all around us with people singing Christmas carols. That's weird.
Weird to you, maybe,
said Annalise.
But this totally normal here. Cockatoo parrots live everywhere here. Come, I'll show you more things. Take me this way.
She pointed the way to go. Bruno went where Annalise directed him, and soon they were walking down a shopping street in the warm sunshine, surrounded by Christmas lights and shop windows with fake snow. They stopped at a large department store whose windows had moving nativity scenes, only they were quite different from the ones in England. The baby Jesus, Mary, Joseph, the shepherds and kings were all represented by strange-looking animals.
Look, Mr. Bruno,
said the Nisse.
There's a wombat, and 3 kangaroos as the wise man, an emu, and some koalas. All Australian animals.
Wow, said Bruno. It's all very Christmassy, but just in a very different way. What do they do on Christmas Day? Do they have the same food as us?
Some people do, but it's usually very hot and sunny on Christmas Day,
Annalise explained.
Come, I'll show you. We go to seaside.
Annalise closed her eyes and solemnly spelt out another word.
B-O-N-D-I,
she whispered. And in just a few seconds, they had gone from the middle of a shopping street to the most enormous beach Bruno had ever seen.
Tell me, Mr. Bruno, what you see?
Well, he began. There are loads of people on the beach. Some people swimming in the water or some surfers. Oh, and look, there's a group of people playing cricket. Oh, and a family over there having a barbecue.
Good observing skills, Mr. Bruno.
Annalisa was pleased.
Many people in Australia have their favourite kind of dinner at Christmas. A barbecue. Imagine having a Christmas barbecue in England. It's much too cold there. But over here, it's perfect weather for it. Everything you see here is things people like to do at Christmas.
What about Father Christmas delivering presents? Asked Bruno. If he's in Europe on Christmas Eve and Britain on Christmas Day, when does he go to Australia? We must be thousands of miles from Britain.
Now this bit's very clever,
explained Annalisa.
Time is different here. I'll tell you things are topsy-turvy here. Well, when it's daytime in Europe, it's night in Australia. So the Christmas man, he delivers presents on afternoon of Christmas Eve in Europe countries, then gets a high-speed sleigh ride to the north of Australia.
Don't the reindeer get tired out if they have to go all around Australia as well?
They probably would if they did. But it's not reindeers who go around Australia. It's much too hot for them here. They're used to freezing conditions. They sweat too much if it's very hot. They go into a cool room in a city called Darwin, and meanwhile, the Christmas man gets changed from his warm fur-lined boots into sandals and swaps his furry clothes for shorts and a colourful shirt.
So, if he hasn't got the reindeer, Bruno asked, then how does Santa get round Australia?
I think you can guess, Mr. Bruno. What's the most famous Australian animal?
They're kangaroos, he called out. Of course!
Yep, they're kangaroos with magic powers for one night a year. They take Father Christmas round Australia delivering presents. Then when they finish, they go back to Darwin. He changes clothes back and the reindeer rested so they fly back to Britain and on to America. So, very busy few hours for the Christmas man. Anyway, magic nearly run out. It's time to go home. Close your eyes, Mr. Bruno.
Annalisa spelt out a few words quietly, and seconds later they were back in Bruno's bedroom. Wow. What an amazing adventure. Thanks, Annalisa. It's lucky Santa only does it once a year, said Bruno. I reckon he needs the rest of the year to recover. Oh, there's many worse jobs than being the Christmas man. He loves it. By the way, what present you get for your mother this year? Present for Mum? Well, I don't normally get her anything. I thought Father Christmas got it for her. Yes, this is true, but it's nice also for her to get something from you, yes? To say 1,000 thank yous for all the things she does for you. Yeah, agreed Bruno. Absolutely. What shall I get her? This for you to decide, Mr. Bruno, not me. Well, I think we're going shopping tomorrow, he said, so I could try to get something when she's not looking. Or you make something yourself for her, maybe, she suggested. Bruno had a good think about what kind of thing his mum might want for Christmas. As he lay in bed, he had an idea. Annalisa, he whispered, I know just what I'm going to get for Mum.
Riding a one-horse open sleigh.